Sunday, November 16th, 2025. I am Albert Franklin Leister, speaking to you from the sanctuary recording studio of the New Greater New Bethel Baptist Church of Linden, Alabama, at precisely 11 a.m. Sunday morning. I need to tell you a few things. Start out by telling you that on the 7th day of November at 6:15 p.m., my brother, Richard Arnold Langster, called me when I was at home and said to me, "I want you to go to the football game with me tonight." That was a surprise. And he said, "I'm going to buy the ticket and pay for you to get in. Just want you to go to the game with me." I thought about it, and I had to make a quick on-the-spot decision. Hadn't been long, a week or so earlier, we had buried his wife, Christine, and I knew that he was grief-stricken. And given his age and my age and his health and my health, I thought about those things and immediately told him, "Yes, I'll go with you." He said, "Well, now, can you be ready in 45 minutes? That pushed me a little bit. But I said, "Yeah, I'll be ready. Just come on and pick me up." I didn't want to go. And for years, I refused to go to football games in Linden because I wasn't satisfied, and I haven't been satisfied with the way things operate in that football business. And I'll tell you more about it in a minute, but let me just go on and say that when we got to the Linden athletic field where the game was being played, we got up to the gate to pay the fee, and I noticed something strange that troubled me. There were two white people collecting the money. And I said to myself, "Wait a minute, this doesn't look right. All the football players on the field are black. All the people in the audience, in the grandstand, are black. Well, why they got white people collecting the money?" And then I thought further, and it occurred to me that that Linden athletic field, which was public property belonging to all of the residents of the city of Linden, initially, that athletic field on which the game was being played had been transferred to an all-white male group, all white men. And black men didn't have nothing, or women, didn't have nothing to do with that athletic field. And they were collecting the money, and God only knows what they were doing with it. So I said to Richard, "Man, they are exploiting our youth. They're using our young people to make money." He said, "Oh, bro, they're doing it all over the state of Alabama." I said, "Well, just because they're doing it all over the state of Alabama don't mean that it's right." We went on into the game, and I stayed there until halftime. I went home. But they won the game. Linden boys won the game. There was a playoff game. But it troubled me deeply to see our young boys, our children, and our future generation being used by the white supremacist system in Linden, Alabama. I thought on it. I thought about the National Guard Armory, the old National Guard Armory that was built in the 1950s. I remember when it was being built over there in the pecan orchard. Uh, in the Charlie Gray Glass subdivision of London. I remember it. But the federal government gave that National Guard Armory to the people of London, the residents of London. And that white supremacy London city government took that National Guard Armory and gave it to the white folks. Black folks lost again. They took the London athletic field. They took the National Guard Armory. And that's the way they conduct business in Linden, Alabama. Black people historically in London were legally second class. We are second class now, but we're not legally second class. We're socially and politically second class citizens now. But I remember when they were building the housing projects, federal government subsidized housing project. The federal government built in the late 1950s, the federal government built 2 housing projects for the people of Linden, Alabama. And this is what they did. They built 1 housing project complex for black people, and they moved down several blocks and built another housing project complex for white people. And it was legally sanctioned by the federal government, by the city government, and by the state government. And those projects are still, those housing developments are still in use, but the white folks done got rich, and the black folks living in both of the housing projects now. But I want to tell you something that I shall never forget. We lived in one of those housing projects back in the late 50s and early 60s. And this same brother of mine, Richard, stood alone as a freedom of choice student and enrolled in a white school. And for a full year, he was the only black child in the white school. And they tried to get my mother to take him out, but she wouldn't do it. And here's what the white government did. I tell you, we lived at B11 Pool Street in that housing project here in London. I was a boy in my early teens, and I tell you what I saw. It took place at B11 Pool Street in London. I was standing out there on the sidewalk, and I saw the county sheriff, Wilma Shields, Wilma, W-I-L-M-A, Shields, pull up with 2 or 3 carloads of his deputies. And they went into our apartment there at B11 Pool Street and set all of our belongings out on the street. I never shall forget it. Why did they do that? They did it because my mother refused to take Richard out of the white school. And they had law on their side to evict her from the public housing project. It wasn't because she didn't pay the rent, because Richard was in the school, and that's why they evicted us. And let me tell you this, that was a wound inflicted upon me by the law enforcement community in Linden, Alabama, that I shall never forget. And that wound has not healed yet. On top of that, racism in Linden, Alabama. I was 5 or 6 years old, living at 700 Lucas Street. And that's where the Ku Klux Klan burned their last cross. Now, I got some listeners down in Africa that might not know what the Ku Klux Klan is. But the Ku Klux Klan is a white supremacist terrorist organization that frequently lynched, murdered, maimed, and killed black people in America. We was there, 700 Lucas Street. I was a little boy, 6 or 7 years old. But they burned a 10-foot or 12-foot cross. I think my brother Saul said it was a 12-foot cross. And you can get his story there on YouTube if you Google his name. But they burned that cross. Now, I was asleep, but some of my older brothers were awake and saw it. But when day came and I woke up, I went out to the toilet. Everybody had outhouses then. There was no such thing as indoor plumbing. When I was coming back from the toilet, I noticed a little stake driven by the back door. And there was a small envelope nailed onto the stake. So I took the envelope off the stake and I carried it in the house and gave it to my mother. Typewritten envelope. The message was typewritten. I didn't read it, but my mother read it. And when I got old enough, I asked her, what was in that note? And she said, the note said that you are doing something that we don't like. Well, she made a report to the Linden City Police. Mr. Honeycutt was the police chief. But they ain't never found out who burned that cross. And whatever damages that were done were not considered worthy to be compensated. But this is what I want you all to do. 13 minutes gone. I'm going to get out of here. I'm not preaching today. I'm teaching. This is what I want y'all to do. I want you to get up. And I want you to act up. Get up and put a stop to the abuse and use of our children and our future generation. If our children can play football, their parents can collect the money and count it. And that's what I want y'all to do. Stop sending those kids out there to play football. You parents got children, don't let them play if the black folks can't collect the money. And then demand an accounting of where the money is being spent. Just collect the money. Black people making that money. And they ought to be taking it and counting it and managing it. And then once you collect it, save it until you can put it in a black bank. Put it in your own bank. That's what I want y'all to do. I want you to think beyond self. Think beyond your paycheck. Think beyond your job. Think for future generations. That's what you need to be thinking for. I heard a mulatto black man say the other day, if white people are planning for generations and we're planning for Saturday night, we have to plan for future generations. And to let your child play football for the white folks, you're making a fool out of yourself, out of your child. And here's what they do. They put these incompetent, unqualified blacks in positions that they cannot handle, and they fall for the okadoke every time. They say, it's all right. It's all right. I don't see no problem with it. But you're selling future generations of black folk down the ocean. And we need to put a stop to it. And they can't stop because they've been doing it too long. But we can stop them. And that's precisely what I want us to do. Goodbye.